Hey everyone, this is a new channel that I started because I'm going through something interesting in my life, and for once I actually feel like sharing my emotions on things. I'm not very prone to doing this, so this is how you know that it's special. My name is Michelle. I go by Michelle Evans because it's a blend of my name and my boyfriend's name. And this is the story of how we met. And there's going to be a lot of stories online or through people that you know where you describe exactly what it is, how you met your partner, and they're always nice, but what makes them interesting? What makes them stand out and become fascinating? I don't want to say, that we're like this be all end all couple because we're not. We're just regular people who met on Reddit, which is always something that I was kind of funny about because that website has gotten me through some stuff. Like, it's hilarious. There's always like these rando people on there, and I don't know. It's just I always kind of like had a thing for it. It's just I'm able to be myself. I'm able to be free. There's nothing quite like it. Um, I'm not a person that likes to display my pictures and stuff like that online. So you're never going to see what I look like on this channel. It's just my personal preference. I don't think I'm ugly at all. In fact, I'm always told the opposite. It's just not only my personal preference, it's also for my own privacy and safety. It's just how it is. So, after that rambling introduction, sorry about the scratchy throat. I think I'm getting a cold. um, so this is the story of how Michelle and Gray met. Now, Gray, I met him on Reddit. There was a time last fall where I was feeling really, very much like a housewife. I wasn't married yet. I've never been married, thank God. But I was feeling kind of like, smothered in my relationship. My fiance's name, because I am engaged technically, even though it's over. Well, all right, let's start. Let's start even further back. So, I'm Michelle. Gray is my guy on Reddit. And then there is Drew, who I've known for a number of years. This is hard to talk about. So Drew and I moved in together last year, and we were very heavy on each other. I never thought that I would ever fall in love with anyone ever again. He has a beautiful personality. He's very intelligent, he's sexy, he's funny, but he's also very shy, and he has Asperger's, which makes him very depressed. I don't know if it's because of it being part of the condition or if he's just like ashamed of it. I don't know. But Drew doesn't do well with that. So there were times where he would go through depression off and on, skip a few months, he'd be fine. And then we would get through it. I'd deal with like a week or two of him feeling like, like the end of the world was here. And then he would get better. But it's been going on all year, basically, to the point where it passed. Oh my gosh, it's just so frustrating because I feel terrible. But it surpassed the point where he was just feeling bad some of the time. And it became more frequent. And then in November of 2019, so 2 months ago, he started getting really bad. So I begged him to see a new psychiatrist. I begged him to get different insurance so that way he could find a new psychiatrist, maybe meet a therapist that was better at his job than the therapist that he has now. Drew's parents have him on their health insurance from their employment. But the thing is, he is a grown man, so he really does need to have his own insurance. That's the first thing. And second of all, it wasn't applicable in New York State. So he has legally a New York State address. We live in the city. But his insurance is under his parents' address in New Jersey. So that's a huge discrepancy. So let's say if he ever had a bad accident or got sick, there would be this flaw on his paperwork. And I don't know if that would count as fraud, like jail time fraud, which I really hope not, or if it would just be like you guys get slapped with a fine, or you have to explain to the government what's going on. And no one wants to deal with, big brother bullshit. So I told him, I was like, it's about time you get your own insurance, first of all, because of all those reasons listed above. Like, he would have to go out to New Jersey if he had gotten sick or if he got hurt. That's ridiculous. So if he broke his leg, what was he supposed to do? It's stupid. And then his mother, who is sweet but very irritating because she's so stupid sometimes, had said, oh, well, he's on my policy. I don't know if I should take him off because she didn't think that we were going to work. And I hate to admit this, but she was kind of right about that. But I don't know what she was basing it off of, because I've always treated Drew very respectfully up until this point. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate on this, and that's fine. You guys are entitled to your opinions, whatever. I have my own shame and my own opinions about what happened to. So, judge away, whatever. So his mother didn't want to hand over the policy information, and that pissed me off because I'm like, well, he needs the policy number and the ID number to get new insurance. And she wouldn't do it. So I literally had to contact her because when Drew talked to her, nothing got done. And I know that he was asking because I was in the room while he was on the phone with her. So it literally took me to intervene and save the day like I always have to. I feel like a second mother sometimes in order for shit to get done. So she finally gives him the information and he goes and gets Fidelis care. Fine. And then he's over here worried. He's like, oh, I didn't hear any good reviews about Fidelis. Now what am I going to do? Blah, blah, blah. He will find negativity in every situation possible. Like, I don't care. I don't care what it is. This man will find the flaw, the tarnish in everything, And as fun as he is, and as gentle as he is, because he's never argued with me, he will never hit me. I know that for a fact. For all of his good points, and all the reasons that I fell in love with him, I was starting to feel very alone, very isolated, and I don't know, it's just like, my sexual needs were always very satisfied with him up until this point, because then he started feeling bad, so of course his libido starts going down, and we're in our peak, we're in our early 30s, so to me it's like, or maybe not our peak, but we're still frisky. We're still young, we still have our urges, and my urges simply just were not being met. And I'm a bisexual female, so I had even said to him, well, if you feel like you can't do this, would it be okay if I go and find myself a girlfriend? He was like, yeah, I don't care about that. I respect your bisexuality. You're beautiful no matter what. Fine. I was like, thank you. But that wasn't what I wanted, because then I started, like, talking to girls, and that wasn't filling what it is that I needed because it was just a sex thing. And I understand that my urges weren't being met, but I also was feeling emotionally not satisfied. So I'm sitting here in this like turmoil because I feel emotionally unwell because, I feel neglected. Physically, I'm being neglected. No matter what it is that I try to get Drew to make himself feel better, I can't make him feel something that he doesn't feel. I'm always encouraging. I wrote him a beautiful note that he still hangs over our bed, explaining all the reasons why he's an amazing person. Because he is. I'm not. He is. Like, he is the total victim in this. I have reasons to feel bad about myself, but I'm being very straight with everyone. He is the victim. It's not fair. But I guess over time with different videos, I will be able to explain why it is that I did what I did. And I think that there's people out there who will understand it. So not only is this therapeutic for me to get off my chest, but it's going to help someone else in a similar situation. My videos have to be rather short simply because YouTube allows default new videos to be like 15 minutes long, which is so lame, but we deal with it, right? Sorry, my computer screen fell asleep. Okay, so if you're on top of things, Drew is very depressed. Drew is feeling bad for himself. I'm feeling kind of neglected. Guess what? I think I do what every person in my situation does. They go on anonymous forums and start talking to people and making friends to fill that social void. I'm not a very social person as it is. I don't have a ton of friends, and I'm not complaining about that. It's just the way that my personality is. I don't like to have a lot of people stuck in my face. And again, I don't use any kind of social media because I just, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say Reddit kind of is social media, but it's not the same thing because it's more like a forum and things are more anonymous. I mean, you can post pictures of yourself, but most people actually choose not to. Or at least not pictures that show their faces. And that's kind of where I ended up. So, Michelle is feeling sexy. Michelle has been losing weight, thank God. And just feeling constrained and fed up. So this is where I'm at. So one day, Drew was at work, and at this point, I wasn't working because my last job didn't work out. So I was between finding new employment and, you know, the job that I had to leave. So Drew was at work, and one afternoon, I was in my bedroom, and I was, like, going through Reddit, and I was bitching about job searches, whatever, and I came across an interesting forum called Gone Wild, and I was like, oh my god, this is so fun. You know, how freeing must it be to just let yourself be loose? And I think that the subreddit title explains for itself what it's about. So I was like, you know, fuck it, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna, you know, be a little frisky and post something. You know, I need some exhilaration. I need a zap because I was in a rut. And I think I just did what everyone does, you know? Society has us trained to the point where, you know, a woman can't be topless. I mean, people still do it, but you know what I'm trying to say? It's like, you know, nudity will always be one of the biggest taboos. Like, people get super excited over that shit. And people will pay to see someone naked, or people will pay to sleep with someone else, you know? Or even just to exchange sexy text messages. Like, people pay for sex. Sex sells. That's just how it is. At the end of the day, we're carnal beings, and that's what it comes down to. So, I found myself on this page. I don't even truly remember how I found it. I think it was underneath my suggested subreddits. You know how they give you recommendations? Because I was always like, you know, I was always on kind of like off-center ones anyway, I guess. And, you know, it was like, oh, you know, just for you or whatever. I can't remember how it introduced itself. So, I found R Gone Wild, and I went wild. It was so exhilarating and so free. And then I found a better one called R Naked, which was more tasteful, because sometimes I would get messages from guys, and they would be like, oh, can you send me a picture of you with a, you know, like a cream filling? And I'm like, what do you think, that I'm gonna have sex with my man? Take a picture of it afterward and then show you what my vagina looks like filled with his semen? Like, no. I was just like, I'm not a porn star. I like being naked, but I'm not a porn star. I think I'm more of an exhibitionist. So naked worked out better for me. And this is where I'm going to leave you off for now, because we're like almost 14 minutes in. And I need to keep in mind that videos that are longer than 15 minutes won't be uploaded. So I'm going to do a part 2. And thanks for listening so far. And if you're going to be a hater, you're going to be a hater. I can't stop you. I'm kind of mad at myself too. And if you're going to be supportive, I give you props and thank you for that. And I will speak to you guys momentarily.